a little bright out here. Doing another live from the back deck. Come here, Duke. Are you stuck? Don't tell me you're already stuck. 1 second. Only took Duke 5.3 seconds to get stuck on the deck. Hello, Jessica. Hope you guys can hear me good. Morning, Vicky, Karen, Tara, Paul. Who else we got in here? Elisa. As you guys can see, I made it out of the woods. I did lose my other mic, so I have to have my daughter order me some new mics for when we go live. So the other one's laying in a wood somewhere. Come here, Duke. Come here, sit down. Let me move this back a little bit. They can't really see. There we go. Here. So me and Duke's out getting some sunshine. We've got a very busy day today. I'm not sure if we'll have a premiere up Friday night because this week's been kind of extremely crazy. We've got 2 funerals to go to. And then we just found out a few days ago that a good friend of ours, past client, fan of the show, just passed away. So we'll be doing an update with that again. Yeah, we've got, excuse me, like I said, 2 different funerals this week. So I think this week, this Friday night, probably will not be a premiere, but then we'll have one next Friday night. So hopefully you guys just understand that sometimes life gets a little bit crazy for us, and but the following Friday we'll definitely have a new episode out. So yeah, I lost my mic in the woods. What was that, Saturday night? There was no way I was going back in that woods to try to find it. So I'm going to have my daughter get me a new mic. I do have this one still. Hopefully it's not too loud. Everybody having a good week? Come here, Dookie. Sit down. He's gonna knock over a mic. Sorry. Duke likes to knock over. My framing, my lighting. Outdoors sucks. Beautiful here in East Tennessee. I feel like East Tennessee is always beautiful. Hello, Ann, Jennifer. Hello to the mods. So yeah, that's what we got going on this week. Just with everything going on, it's just easier if we don't worry about a premiere this week. So we'll definitely be back next week. We'll be out filming this weekend. I think we're going to West Virginia, and then I believe Ohio the following week. And then I've got a hotel that contacted us and have some pretty crazy stuff going on. So I'll be investigating a hotel here sometime in the next couple weeks. Tara did not win the Powerball. I didn't win the Powerball either. I think this was the very first time I've ever had like at least one number. I had two numbers, and then the Powerball. What was the Powerball? It was like 16, and I had 17, or it may have been 17, and I had 16, but I was one number off from the Powerball number. So none of us won the Powerball. So everybody here in chat and all of us will continue working away. I don't know. I was reading something, or I heard something on the radio this morning where there was I don't know. I thought two people won the Powerball. I could be wrong. Dookie. Duke's laying out in the sun now, so still broke. That's okay. We all like being broke, don't we? What would we do with $1.8 billion anyhow? Duke, I would build you the biggest doghouse that we could all stay in, because Duke wouldn't like to stay in like a doghouse. We are doomed to work forever. Isn't that true? Hello, first timers. If you're new here, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Next Friday night, we'll have a new episode coming out. And then in September, well, it is September now. October, we'll have some pretty crazy family haunting cases coming out. That's one thing I figured in life. I will always have a home mortgage, and I will always have a car payment. And then obviously all your other bills that you have on top of that. But Halloween's coming soon. Yes, it is. If you haven't watched, we did drop a new episode last Friday night, so go check that out. Don't forget about taxes. Yep, got to pay our taxes. That's kind of how we do it, is pay our taxes, obviously. That always comes first because they take that first. Then pay your bills, and then our money for expenses for traveling and vehicle repairs, um, and then do a couple different charities throughout the year. And then whatever's left over, you try to save. Most of you guys know I'm pretty cheap and frugal myself. So actually, once Kenzie gets out of school today, we got to run to Walmart and get some dress shoes, because I don't have any dress shoes for the viewings and funerals and stuff. So I got to get me some dress shoes. Chris, I'm so sorry to hear about having to put your dog down yesterday morning. Prayers to you. My chat keeps going in and out. Velvet says, I feel like a weirdo because I feel like I know you. Well, that's the whole purpose. We want you guys to all feel like we're one big, beautiful family. We try to comment back to you guys as much as possible, and appreciate everybody taking the time to watch the episodes and leave their comments and hitting that like button and sharing things about yourselves. And yeah, that was the main purpose of today's video, is just jumping on here and just updating you guys, because there'll be a million questions coming out starting Thursday into Friday. Is, will there not be a new episode? Is there not an episode dropping tonight? So give you a little bit of a heads up that no, there will not be an episode dropping this Friday night. Um, so if you guys see anybody in chat asking that question, you guys can respond to them. Hello, everybody in chat. Tammy, and what is that one? The sun's kind of Jeffo, Tamara, Rita. Yeah, this past Friday was absolutely crazy case. Actually, when the case first started off, I thought it was going to be a little. Let's just say it just started off slow, which sometimes hauntings they kick off the minute go lights out. Sometimes they start off slow and gradually get more active. This is one of those cases where that's after the first half hour you were kind of wondering if you were going to document anything, and then it just we went down to the basement and just the craziest series of events took place where I was getting all this information on one device. Then Rocky came in. He was getting the exact same information on a completely different device. As you guys know, Sean was sick, so he spent most of the time in the car. But he did end up going back inside the house later on that night, and he got again the exact same information, and everything was leading us out to this woods. Obviously, that's why I ended up in the woods. I didn't. And the craziest thing, like when I was in the woods with you guys on the live, is I went back and found these two old cars. One was from like the 1930s next to this metal building. They look like the cars have been back there for years. And so when I was getting ready to leave, I went one direction thinking I was heading back to the path. It took me directly back to the cars. Then I left there, went another direction, led me back to the cars. This happened 5 times where I left different directions from these cars, and every single time it led me back to the cars, which was creepy as hell, considering what we documented inside the house before I even went into the woods. So at that point, I wasn't even for sure if I was like on the homeowner's property or if I was on the neighbor's property. So obviously, I was worried about making a bunch of noise. I had my light out there with me, so I was worried that somebody was going to call the police and all that stuff. So I just wanted to get out of the woods. Finally got hold of Rocky. Rocky stood at the end of the path and was yelling for me. So I found Rocky and everything turned out good besides losing my mic. But it's definitely one of the. So then the homeowners are checking with the neighbor. I was on the neighbor's land, excuse me, where the cars were. So they're going to be checking with the homeowners and see if they get access to the cars to see if we can uncover any more information. So it was definitely one of those mind blowing nights. Turned out to be an amazing investigation. Like my phone got dark on me. Somebody said they seen a figure of a man out there. Yeah, I haven't went back and watched any of the footage from the live, so I want to go back and watch that. I'm going to try to incorporate some of that into the episode, but I think it's because that woods was literally it was so thick in that woods. It was so easy to get lost because almost the entire time you were moving through it, you had to be crouched down almost on your hands and knees. Um, It was just weird leaving those cars 5 different times, 5 different directions, and every time ending back at those cars. It was like straight out the Blair Witch. I think Sean was just sick from being down in Tennessee, working on the property in the rain and stuff. I think allergies, um, cutting down a lot of bush and stuff like that. So I don't think it was anything paranormal related. He was just caught a cold and wasn't feeling good. Hello, Brittany. Does this work really drain your energy? Yes, this work is very draining. Not from, I mean, a lot of times it's just being in that environment. If it's like super negative, and we deal with like a lot of negative side of the paranormal, typically when families contact us, they've kind of at their last resort and things have taken a turn for the worst. So a lot of the situations we're going into are like already that bad. And then just being on the road constantly, very little sleep. Um, so yeah, it's all draining. Have you noticed ghost activity outside of haunted locations? Yes, we have. We do a lot of not only inside the house but on the property. We've had several of those cases this year. Liz, you guys are nonstop. Yes, we do go nonstop, but we love it. Sonia, some demons got to be invited. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff is invited. I don't ever believe that you just wake up one morning and all of a sudden your house is haunted. There has to be something that triggered that haunting to take place, and which is kind of how the hauntings work. Is it all starts with the invitation, and that could be many things, not necessarily somebody doing something bad or negative, but something has to invite that in. Um, so you have manifestation where the property where whatever's there is invited into the home. And like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean that the homeowner invited them in, just something happened that caused that to happen. And then you have the oppression side of things where it begins to work on the family emotionally, physically, financially, just a lot of negative things start to happening. And then you have possession, which is the third phase of the haunting. And that doesn't And possession can mean anything. It can mean that entity has taken possession of an item, of your house, of a person. So I think a lot of people think of possession as somebody's possessed, but those could be, the house, the item, the person. Doesn't necessarily have to be like demonic possessed, if that makes sense. And even with like some of our last few episodes, which I thought we caught pretty good evidence, is a lot of people are like, anybody that's ever been ghost hunting before, you basically know how this works. Is It's not like anytime you go into a haunted house, you don't have activity from beginning, like every second there's something paranormal going on. Anybody that's ever lived in a haunted house or lived through a haunting, you know how this stuff works. Is like, I remember the haunting that we lived through when we were children. We would go sometimes 2 to 3 weeks and nothing would ever happen. And then all of a sudden, argument or a fight inside the home would trigger the activity to take place, or whatever's there wanted to make itself known and really disrupt things. So now you have to imagine we're going into a place where we're there like 6, 7 hours and we're trying to document things that people have experienced that's lived there 20, 30 years. It's impossible. So really for us, it's just to go in, see if we can figure out what's there, why it's there, what they want, get that message. And then obviously the most important thing is to cleanse the house and bless the family. And then hopefully everything goes to an end. So realistically, there's no way that we could go in 6 or 7 hours and document everything that the family's experienced. So I think that's why sometimes you guys will hear the families will have all these um, claims of paranormal activity that they've experienced over, let's say, 20 years. And then some people are like, well, why didn't you guys document that? Well, that's just not how this stuff works. In reality, we're just trying to document what we can in the short amount of time we've been there. And these things, it's like I said, it's not uncommon for, if you live in a haunted house, or for these things to lay dormant for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. Leanne, thank you so much for the donation. Greatly appreciate it. Everybody give a thumbs up for Leanne Chambers. And then we also get into a lot of things where people just do dark, evil things and conjure these things up. And often it's the innocent people that have to face the consequences of their actions. Yes, Liz said spirits don't often. Yeah, and you also have to understand what type of haunting you're dealing with. There's so many different types of hauntings that you could be going into. I like to think that most of the ones that we go into are intelligent on the darker side, just because we've talked to the families and we've got a good understanding of what's going on inside the house. But if you're dealing with something that's like residual, it's never going to be able to communicate with you. Thank you, Janet. Janet Williams, thank you for the donation. But let's say if you're going into a house where it's like a historical home and it's more of a residual haunting, well, that haunting, it's not going to be able to communicate with you, answer you, set off alarms. That's just the time and a place on like a tape recorder constantly replaying itself. Um, so those are probably the most difficult. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that location's haunted, because technically there's not a spirit there that's able to haunt the home and disrupt the family and cause chaos. It's just basically there, and they may see it at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday. And it's just that's how those hauntings work. And then you have the intelligent haunting that's able to communicate back and forth with you. You have the poltergeist that do a lot of the knocking and rapping on the walls, moving objects, voices, and then demonic entities, which are more of the negative side, where they try to destroy the family. They cause a lot of chaos. You have scratches, um, again, knocking, things moving. So there's everything that, anytime you investigate a location, especially like a family haunting. I think that's why I like family hauntings more than I do like haunted locations, because haunted locations, you pretty much know what you're going to get into. Like Waverly Hill Sanatorium, you know that that was a tuberculosis hospital that, thousands of people died inside there. So you pretty much know what you're going to be getting into. With the family hauntings, it's more of a mystery. You don't know what you're up against. You don't know who you're trying to communicate with. So there's a lot of fact finding, and that's what we enjoy, is trying to figure out who's there and why they're there and what they want, if any of that makes sense. Let's see here. Can you sense it's a good or bad spirit? Typically, you have a good idea when you walk in. That's the first thing you notice, and the first thing that we try to pay attention to when we walk into a home is, what are we feeling? Are we feeling negative? Um, do you feel normal? So you definitely pick up on the feeling when you walk into somebody's house. And it's the same way, because I believe that a lot of what we deal with are energies, and you have good and you have bad energy, and you have that with people that are living and people that have passed on. Um, so you can definitely pick up on the energy. It's like you guys, if you walk into, Uncle Larry's house and Uncle Larry's an asshole, you just pick up on that negative energy when you're at his house for Thanksgiving or whatever. And then if you go into like your grandmother's house and she's always in a good mood and happy, you feel a different energy being inside that house. And that's the same thing with spirits. You're able to pick up on that stuff as well. Can you cleanse a residual haunting? I don't know if you can cleanse a residual haunting, to be honest. I don't know. I would definitely have to do more research on that. We don't typically run into a lot of residual hauntings. Like the last case that we did, um, not this past Friday, but the Friday before that, I believe that was a mixture of a residual haunting that was already there inside the house, and then whatever the sister was doing conjure something up. So I felt like we were dealing with two different spirits. Um, the residual stuff, I don't know if you could ever get rid of that. So my guess would be no. It's just always going to be there. That energy is always going to be there. Now, is it possible that you could cleanse the home and bless the home? And because with residuals, it's not really like something that's not at peace. It's not even something you can interact with. I don't even know if I would classify it as a spirit. I would say it's more of the energy constantly that time and space is constantly replaying itself, which cannot affect you or hurt you or in any way. So everybody on Patreon, I will be dropping a new episode on Patreon very soon. I am editing nonstop. So I appreciate you guys being patient with me. Josh, will you ever go to the War and Occult Museum? Yes, we will. We hope to get there one day soon. We just get so busy with family hauntings. We don't get a whole lot of time to go out and investigate like mainstream haunted locations, even though we do enjoy that. It's just our focus is more on helping families. And so I would feel guilty if I told a family, well, just wait a week because we got to go investigate Penhurst or Waverly Hills or something like that. So they always take top priority. Hello from Virginia. I do want to get out and see the new Conjuring movie. Hope I can get a break in my schedule to go out and watch that. It's one of the, which I think that's what this movie is based off, the Smurl family, which is, I remember reading the book about the Smurl haunting years and years ago. And it's always one of the one hauntings that the Warrens did that really fascinated me. And then when you go back and read, to me, the Smurl case seemed like it was the most genuine family haunting case. And I don't question like anything the Warrens did or any of that stuff. I think some, obviously Hollywood took their stories and they have to make a movie out of it and have to make it interesting. But I don't think that should make, just because the Conjuring movie was a little crazy and not factual, some of it, I don't think that should um, say anything negative towards the Warrens' work and their dedication to helping families. Obviously, there's always going to be skeptics and people who doubt a lot of the stuff. But if you actually go read some of the Warrens' books and their case files, you see there's nothing that's like super crazy in it that would. Sharon, thank you so much for the donation. Hi, Josh. Glad to see you not lost anymore. Yes, that's a good thing. I'm no longer lost in the woods. Thanks to Rocky, I found my way out. So yeah, that's when we first started investigating the paranormal. There wasn't, like I said, there wasn't the internet. There wasn't paranormal shows on TV. A lot of it was just, books from the library, reading books on the Warrens. I think that's where a lot of people that got started in the paranormal was through them. And so they're definitely the goats of the paranormal field. And like I said, I don't think any of the movies, regardless of how Hollywood portrays some of the case files, should take away from the work that they did. And like the Smurl book, if you go read the book on the Smurl family haunting and then watch the movie, you'll see how things were added to obviously make a good horror movie that people are going to enjoy. But to me, that's one of the most fascinating cases that the Warrens, I think, ever did. See if we got any more questions before Kenzie's going to come out. My mic's still on? Yeah. Kenzie's going to come out and get me to go shopping here in a minute. Sorry, I should put the mic on something. Let me see if I put the mic on this table. Let's see if that's... Okay, can you hear me? Does that sound good? I won't touch the mic. Duke is laying down in the sun right in front of me. Yes, my ADHD, I've always got to have something in my hands and constantly fidgeting. So I do apologize. That's why a lot of times when I'm live or something, you'll see like chapstick or something in my hands. Kenzie's photos turn out great. If you want, I can post some pictures of them. I'll double check with Kenzie first to make sure. Yeah, we had a fun time taking pictures, and she helped me mow and everything the day before, and then the second day was just all about her and her senior pictures. So very proud of both my daughters and them just being genuinely good people. Let's see here. Deborah says she's got the exact same thing. You cannot sit still. Yeah, if you have a problem sitting still, and like my brain's like, I think that's why I sleep very little, is because my brain's like constantly working. Like, this is what I got to get done next. This is what I got to do. Constantly like replaying cases in my head and upcoming cases, and I got to get up and edit. So I just get up at like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning and edit and drink coffee and chill with Duke. Brandy said, I'm watching you guys' videos right now, and I have racing thoughts too. There are a lot of people like that, don't sleep much either. Is the Tennessee property haunted? I have no clue. I hope it's not haunted. I love the paranormal, but I do not want to live on a haunted property or a haunted house. Now, I will say the contractors out there, when they were taking down the barns, they were salvaging them, but they'd be out there working late at night. They would hear like the creepiest sounds, they said, and they would just pack their stuff up and leave. So we're not quite for sure. It's an old property. Like I said, it was a cattle farm for many years. There were 6 old barns there, so it's hard telling um, what could have taken place on an old farm from back in the 1800s. Victoria, I don't do well with ghosts. I don't think anybody does well with ghosts. Rita wants to know, have you seen any foxes? I'm guessing what that's going to say on the property. I have not. We've seen deer. We were just talking to the neighbor, the guy that lives on the property behind us. There was, I think he's got like 38 acres back there. And they said on his trail camera, he caught the biggest bobcat he's ever seen in his life out there, and then a mother bear with 2 cubs. So we do know that there's coyotes, bobcats, bear, lots of deer. Um, that's why I try to always encourage Kenzie when we're out there working, because sometimes she'll just wander off into the trails by herself. Especially like we do a lot of hiking, so we've ran into bears before. Like if you run into like a young male bear or even a male bear in general, they typically notice you, you notice them, and they take off running. There's no issues whatsoever. It's when you run into a mother bear with her cubs, that's when you're in danger, because I feel like the mother bears, they probably keep their cubs for maybe a year, maybe 2 years. Don't quote me on that. Hey, Kenzie, come pull up a chair next to me. I was wondering where you guys were. We're live. Just move that. I just set up there. So Kenzie just got done at her college class. What's that? We were just talking about you. Were you? Mm-hmm. We were talking about, somebody asked if animals we've seen on the property. And
Turtles.
turtles. I was telling them that there were bears and stuff out there. And you go on walking by yourself. And
Oh. Dude.
I try not to let you do that. Everybody say hello to Kenzie. We got a busy week this week, don't we?
Yes.
Especially tonight. So Kenzie's going to go with me to Walmart, her favorite place on the planet, to get me some dress shoes.
Only because we're also going to Winter Nutrition.
Yeah. Kenzie's like, do you have to buy your shoes at Walmart? To me, shoes are shoes.
No. Okay, well now you make me sound bad. But we already went once and you couldn't find any.
But I will say, Kenzie always... All right, Dick? Kenzie always tries to get me to buy nice things for myself, but out of kindness, but I don't always... I would rather spend my money on them than waste it for nice stuff for myself. Because when we're out shopping, she's always like, oh, this shirt would look so nice on you. And I look at the price tag and I said, there's no way in hell I'm paying $30 for a shirt.
It's not even that bad.
I know, but I can go to Myers or Walmart and get one for like
we'll go to like
$10.
Marshalls and there's like a super nice like name brand shirt that's usually like $50 and you're like, it's on sale for like 20 and you're like, oh, I don't want to buy that.
Can you guys hear Kenzie good? Let me move the mic over a little bit. There we go. I'm going to have your sister order me a new mic because I lost the other one in the woods.
I can order it.
Can you order the same one she ordered? Kenzie's very soft-spoken. I'm very loud. People always ask me, Josh, why are you so freaking loud? Well, I raised 2 daughters. That's why I'm loud. Men will know what that means.
Let's see what's that to do with anything.
You got to be loud to be heard.
Hey, you raise your voice a lot.
Oh.
Don't mind him.
Don't mind Duke. He's just laying down, knocking shit over.
He stopped for a second, thought about it, and then later.
Have you done a haunting in Utah? We've had several haunting cases in Utah. We hadn't. I think when we first got a lot of our cases in Utah was right around towards like the middle or end of COVID. So obviously with traveling, and it was just so expensive to buy tickets, and we didn't want to drive like 26 hours. So, but yeah, we have had a lot of cases in Utah. We just have not made it out there yet. I think probably starting next year, we'll definitely branch out and start doing more cases. Definitely like in the south, the up northeast, and then out west. So Utah is a beautiful state, so definitely want to get out there. So I thought about flying out there, investigating, filming, and then getting a rental car and driving back just to see the countryside.
This is the list of like substitute teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the game Friday night goes better.
Are you still going to do the investigation in Oklahoma? Yes. We've got several cases that we're planning to get to out west. So hopefully we'll get to those very soon. We've got a few that we need to finish up here. Like I said, we'll be in West Virginia this weekend, Ohio next weekend. Actually, I think the next 2 weekends after that's Ohio. And then we'll see where we go after that. You guys like my mug that one of our beautiful fans sent us? I can't remember if this... Oh, this is the one that our mod brought to us at CreepyCon, and her sister Karen, I believe, brought us this mug. So I use this. I use this in my Ghost Paranormal Nightmare mug, and I use my Waffle House mug. Kenzie doesn't like hot black coffee like this.
Mm-mm.
She's more of a Starbucks.
I don't like it to taste like I'm drinking coffee.
I love coffee. If there was legally a way for me to marry coffee, I would probably do it. Just so coffee would never leave my life. I'd be like, you're stuck with me forever. It's hard to with the sun. Only ever drink black coffee. That's the way to do it.
You can read them off of here if you want.
Yeah, but then I gotta look at myself.
Or frozen on my phone. Hopefully it's not frozen on there.
I don't think it's frozen. Nobody's yelled at me for it freezing.
On my phone it is.
Is there a difference between day and night investigations? I think there is. And we've experienced and we've documented some of our best evidence has been during the days. So I think you can document evidence regardless, day or night. But I think nighttime investigations and what I like doing the nighttime investigations is it feels like all your senses are more heightened. Like it just feels like your sound, your sight, everything is. Um, I prefer investigating at night, but we've documented just as much during the day. And like I said, some of our most compelling paranormal evidence ever has been during the day.
My cat was just staring at you.
Got one of our hood cats out here.
It was like,
Wait till Duke sees it.
Duke, look.
No, don't make him run. He's gonna knock my camera.
Uh-uh.
Rita says, I love coffee. I drink 4 to 5 cups a day. I think I drink about 24 cups a day. Liz says, the darkness sharpens your other senses. I agree with that. Okay, well, Kenzie and I are going to get ready to go shopping. All of you guys have a beautiful day.
This is it.
Duke sees the kitty. And like I said, if you guys see anybody in chat that wants to know where the episode is Friday, just let them know that we are not having episode this Friday night. Like I said, we've got a couple funerals to go to and a few other things. Last night was a crazy night. So it's we'll be back on schedule next Friday night. So all of you guys have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble for 44 minutes.
You've been live for 44 minutes.
If you're new here, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And you guys all have a lovely rest of your week and a great weekend. And I'm sure we'll go live at some point. Right? Tell them, say bye.
Bye, guys.
See you guys. Team Nightmare out.